There's an aviation accident in progress, and it's big. The Christmas crash of Southwest Airlines on this episode of Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and we're going to investigate Southwest Airlines. I hope you're not one of the thousands left stranded, and I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I'd like to thank our sponsors, and more on them in a bit, and links and deals in the description below, but let's get to it. Okay, if you've been out of the loop, here's what's going on. In the United States, discount-leading airline Southwest has been canceling most of their flights since Christmas, over 4 days and counting. And to be sure, over the Christmas weekend, a bitter Arctic cold front moved down over most of the country. But this disaster at Southwest is much like an airplane crash. There's a bunch of links in the chain that have led to this outcome. Links that if one or more had been broken, the result might have been a lot different. All right, Christmas was Sunday, and the storm dumped a lot of snow over much of the United States starting on Saturday. But by Monday, most air travel was back to normal, except for one carrier, Southwest Airlines. Every day since the weekend storm, Southwest has been canceling thousands of flights, more than 2/3 every day, leaving tens of thousands of stranded holiday travelers. And before the sun was up on Wednesday, December 28th, which is the day I'm making this report, Southwest had canceled 2,500 flights. Total cancellations in the airlines for Wednesday, 2,800. So Southwest 2,500, all others 300. And that number is important and reveals a deeper problem at Southwest. Back in October of 2021, I was flying in Florida in my Cessna 210, talking with ATC. In the meantime, Southwest was canceling a large number of flights that day. Their explanation was ATC over North Florida was understaffed, thus they were forced to cancel flights. Since I actually interacted with the ATC they named at the time they described, I was surprised that they used that as a reason. Most of the people in aviation knew the real cause. The COVID pandemic led to layoffs, and when the industry demand spun up incredibly fast, they were not ready. Many airlines had this issue, but why was Southwest canceling an inordinate amount compared to others? Well, I think the answer has been found. This incident over a year ago was a huge warning flag that clearly was never addressed at the home office of Southwest Airlines. Now, before you think I'm a Southwest hater, I'll tell you I've admired this company as an observer, but not really as a customer, and I'll get to that. Back in the 90s, when online trading began, I actually played a little investing in this airline. Herb Kelleher built something unique, which is hard to do with large corporations. I mean, you can hate American and be a United or Delta fan, but at the end of the day, those three are pretty much the same. They all lose luggage, they all cancel flights, they're all late. Their customer service is pretty much the same across the board, but not Herb Kelleher's Southwest Airlines. The employees back then were incredibly loyal to the company and to the brand. It stood for something, and that's why I invested. But as a traveler, I much preferred American simply because I had built status on that airline and didn't like the cattle car nature. I wanted to pick my seat before the flight. But the no-bag fees and low cost did mean that occasionally I flew Southwest. I'm not a hater. But what does trigger me is when people or companies use obvious BS excuses instead of just being on the level. And that's what Southwest did a year ago, blaming ATC instead of coming clean with their own issues. And what are the chains in this crash, and what is the leadership of the company saying now? Well, I've already mentioned the weather. We'll call that a chain link, a very small one. But who knows? If there had not been a storm that weekend, maybe the Southwest crash would have never occurred. When the disaster was a few days old, company spokesperson Jay McVeigh said the biggest challenge was incredible delays due to snow, people getting to the airport, people leaving the airport. Yeah. And that's what triggers me and many others. If this statement was true, then most of the carriers would be affected. But remember that Wednesday score? Southwest 2,500, all others 300. Customers see this line of BS, and it just makes them angrier. All right, here's another link in the chain. Southwest's strategy is to be the low-cost carrier. To make up for the lower revenue, they squeeze their scheduling. Shorter turnaround times, concentration on big cities, and when weather happens, that puts a bigger wrench in their machinery than maybe other airlines. But they know that. It's a calculated risk, and that I can respect. The next chain was revealed publicly on Tuesday the 27th by Southwest CEO Bob Jordan, who told the employees that part of the problem is their systems are old, suffering from a lack of tools. And I take that to mean that their operations and software are out of date and falling apart. But Jordan promised investing in improving the systems, and I'm not sure why that wasn't done back in October of 2021, but it is what it is. Phones not working, systems crashing, certainly a big link in the chain. The pilot shortage could be a link. The airlines have not yet fully recovered, and there's a big demand for pilots still today. And some point to a chain link being the COVID, flu, RSV triple play, leading to more crews being out sick. But again, if this was significant, it would affect all the other airlines, and quite frankly, it's not. But one thing that did affect Southwest was right before the storm, there was a huge ramper walkout at Denver, and that could have started the whole mess. Big chain. Southwest says the mass cancellation is a big reset, and that does make sense. CEO Jordan calls it a giant puzzle.
Here's why this giant puzzle is taking us several days to solve.
They've got crew, equipment, and stuff spread all over, and software that apparently can't handle the rearranging of the million-piece jigsaw puzzle. Southwest is trying to fix and help travelers where they can.
Sharing all the things that we're doing to make things right for our customers.
They've arranged some transportation for some of those stranded, paid for hotels, promised to reimburse some expenses, and have given a customer service number that apparently at times was so overwhelmed people just couldn't get through. Jordan is promising to take care of each and every customer. He says,
"We have some real work to do in making this right. For now, I want you to know that we're committed to that."
That's at the bottom of a letter that blames the weather for the crisis and systems and tools that work, in his words, 99% of the time. My words are this: when you make promises, your credibility is weakened when you try to spin the blame. Just own it and fix it. That's what the customers want. This is so bad that the poster child for inefficiency and lack of transparency, the king of spinning the blame, the federal government, is having to come in. The current administration is rushing to tackle this Southwest issue while putting their head in the sand on things like border crisis. So expect a bunch of new rules soon. And yes, that was a quick political jab. If you don't like it, feel free to let me know in the comments below. One thing I agree totally with Bob Jordan is that in Tuesday's message, he talked about the heroic employees of Southwest.
Or you're one of our heroic employees caught up in a massive effort to stabilize the airline. To know is that we're doing everything we can to return to a normal operation.
And that is absolutely spot on. These people in the trenches didn't ask for leadership to use antiquated technology that is easily overwhelmed. They've had to be the point of the spear for the company dealing with tens of thousands of reasonably upset customers who have nowhere to go during the holidays. And if you're one of those stranded, please be nice to these workers. They are heroes. And also heroes, the people in the cities. I've heard about a group of stranded Koreans who were taken in by people into their houses. That kind of compassion, those kind of heroes is what we need more of. The probable cause for this airline catastrophe still boils down to the pilot flying. This is the C-level executives at Southwest. Factors might include all of the other chains, weather, crew shortages, old systems. But as the leader of this company, you account for all these factors. Like if I crashed a aircraft because of a wind gust, still my fault. I have to account for that. So probable cause for this is the pilot of the company's loss of control in flight, but they can fix this. Lastly, I want to say this. Southwest Airlines was built on taking care of its employees and its customers. It was their culture. It was their DNA. And I hope they come through this, and I hope they get back to this culture. And if you're someone stranded right now, if rental cars are unavailable, try some alternative rentals like national hardware chains, Lowe's or Home Depot will have pickups you can rent. And maybe industrial services like CAPS, van rentals, or even U-Haul. If you're a GA pilot out there and hear of a need, I hope you can volunteer to help out. And that's the report. I hope you had a great Christmas, and I hope you have an even better New Year. And I'd like to thank our sponsors. If you go to flyingeyesoptics.com and use our discount code TakingOff, all caps one word, you'll get 10% off. Colton Mortgage, for your residential mortgage needs at coltontakingoff.com. Right now, if you use Colton Mortgage, you'll get a free pair of Flying Eyes and a Taking Off hoodie. Marshall Protective Services, mpsprotects.com. Also, Clemens Insurance. If you're looking for just about any insurance, but especially aviation, clemensinsurance.net. and a new pilot training scholarship program, tailwindwaymakers.org. Go there to find out more. Every single one of these sponsors is funded and run by pilots. Let's support our family. Thanks for watching. Remember, superior judgment trumps superior skills. Check out this video by Christy investigating the John Denver crash. Thanks.